This is Don Mazzella here again for Small Business Digest. We're here with Craig Goodlife because we're going to talk about testimonials, about getting additional sales, something we all need. God knows I do. Anyway, Craig, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Don. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, Greg, as we also ask all our guests, tell us a little bit about yourself, then about your company, and finally a website where they can learn more.
Well, a little bit about me is I'm a serial entrepreneur and from a family of serial entrepreneurs who enjoy business, helping others and solving problems and tying it to business. And I've had the good fortune of creating Cyberbacker, which is a company that provides administrative support to small businesses. And we do that by hiring globally. So it's a pretty exciting thing. And our website, Don, in case our viewers here want to check it out, is cyberbacker.com. And that's CYBERBACKER.com.
Oh, just like it sounds. We got
Yeah.
some people on this show that have some, it sounds great until you try to spell it. But but anyway, but you tell us a serial entrepreneur. But you know what? People have been complaining that I've been letting you guys off too easy. Tell us a little bit more about your background because
Uh,
they're all fascinated. My audience lately has become fascinated by how you guys got to where you are.
I think what makes any great entrepreneurs is a series of failures with a couple successes. And for me, my entry into the business world was in real estate, and which they tell you you own a business, but until people are working for you and you still have to show up every day, you really own a job. And that's what I learned about real estate. I still love it, still been involved with it. And that's kind of how I got started in this. And what I just ended up moving towards was I noticed that a lot of my colleagues in real estate, they were asking me how you do what you do. And meaning that I was able to go ahead and have nights and weekends where a lot of them weren't. My clients were getting awesome support. Our social media presence was good. And it's because we had hired some phenomenal people from around the world to do jobs that didn't require a license or a physical presence. And when we started helping a couple of great people in real estate, they referred more. And right now, our company, Cyberbacker, we've got over 4,000 clients. We provide 3,600 jobs internationally, and we franchise the company. And currently, today, Don, we have 43 franchise owners here in Cyberbacker.
Well, let's talk about that. When you
Yeah.
say you hire people, what do you look for in phenomenal people?
That's a great question. And it's a pretty rigorous hiring process with assessments and everything else. But if I had to break down just a couple things, first thing is we're looking for people who have track record of being able to follow systems. And if a system hasn't been built, they have the ability to build it. Some people are very artistic and they walk into the kitchen, they don't follow a recipe, they just throw some stuff together and they're able to make a chocolate cake. And that works for some people, especially if you've got some experience as a chef. I know I couldn't do it, but we're looking for people who are good at looking for a recipe, following the recipe, and if a recipe doesn't exist, they're doing the research and writing one. And that's the first thing we look at based on their track record, based on their experience, and the way that they handle some of our interview questions. The next is we look for people who take personal responsibility for things, and that can be good and bad. Some people, it'll rain and their basement will flood and they'll take personal responsibility. That's their fault for owning a house, for having a basement. And they'll do that to the extreme. And we found that those are two characteristics that a lot of successful small business owners have. And when we work with administrative support that also shares those characteristics, the results has been phenomenal.
But when you say administrative support, what do you mean?
Well, everything from social media, that's a big one right now. Because I don't know about you, Don, but it changes so frequently on social media, I can't keep up. And so we found that when small business owners, they hire someone to take over their social media, they can stay up to date on what changes are happening, what they have to do to get more people through social media, how they can have their clients set an appointment with them through social media. And it's rapidly evolving. So people come to us for that. Some businesses, their business is growing and their accounts receivable, their accounts payable before they did it. Now they can't keep up on it. And so we take pride in being able to help them with things like that, even down to Don just answering the phone. And for me, that was one of the tasks that when I gave up, it was very freeing because someone else can answer your phone and take great care of the person on the line and make sure that sometimes whatever that person's need, their needs are met before you even have to touch it. So all of those things, that's the kind of administrative support we're talking about.
Well, let me dig a little deeper
Sure.
on the social media, because frankly, over the 21 odd years I've had this program, I have had no success hiring a social media person who's actually succeeded.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
part of the problem is we have nothing to sell. We don't sell anything.
No.
Which is something, anyway. But I come to you. I have the U.S. widget company,
Mhm.
and I need help with social media. What do you do?
Well, so we're going to build out social media strategies. One of the ones are right now is there's different things when we're going to run ads through social media, different filters that we can put in to identify who the consumer is, where they live. One of my other businesses, like I said, serial entrepreneur, I own a venue and we specialize in weddings. So for a business like that, we'll go ahead and look for people who change their Facebook status to engaged. And as soon as they do that, we're going to go ahead and stay in front of them on social media because that's the one metric that when it changes, we know we've got to be in front of them. Now, our wedding venue is in Ogden, Utah. If someone's getting engaged in New York City, they're probably not coming to Ogden, Utah for their wedding. So we'll go ahead and target once we know that we're targeting the people who are engaged. Then we're targeting people within a 10-mile radius, and sometimes we'll go 25 miles. And then we will market specifically to those people through social media. So we'll go ahead and we'll do everything from running paid ads that they're going to see to reaching out and inviting them through social media to come check out their venue and congratulating them on their special day. And then making sure that our content is stuff that they're going to want to see, having other weddings and other successful events at our venue. So when they do go ahead and they do click on our page, what they're seeing is an experience they'd like to share.
Hmm. See,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one, because what I've been told by these people trying to explain their failure is because we do not have the only thing we sell is information.
Yeah.
People like yourself coming on and telling small businesses how to better operate,
Yeah.
and they don't go on the internet to find that out. They think that most entrepreneurs think they know it all.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Okay. It's the truth. I've said that in conferences. But
Yeah.
now let's go a little further. One of the things you wanted to talk about is how do you turn testimonials into better ways of selling your product? I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to throw it open to you.
No, you're great. And this has been one of the things that's been a game changer for us. And a couple of things that we've noticed, and I'm sure everyone else has seen this on social media. You'll have a customer, you'll have someone, and they're having a great experience with your business, and they'll put that out there on social media. And unfortunately, it's only their friends, family, and Facebook friends that ever see it. One of the things that we've been really good at is screen capturing it and being able to share that, asking them to share that and making sure that we're using those testimonials as content. Once we get the consumer's permission, we'll even screenshot it and email it out if we have to. Because one of the things that people want to know is, do other people know, like, and trust your business? And sometimes some people, if you're not getting those referrals, we'll even go ahead and reach out through a social media messenger. And we'll go ahead and say, would you mind sharing your experience about our business, especially when they're businesses that we know of or consumers we know that have had a great experience with our business recently. And that's one of the places that a lot of entrepreneurs miss it because people want to know when experiences are great. So when we can go ahead and share more testimonials and more reviews, that tends to be the thing that makes things grow. And it's funny, Don, because a lot of other places, especially like in China, they're adopting this social media score, basically the social credit of sorts, that based on reviews and everything else, that's what makes you the more trustworthy brand. And a lot of times there's businesses that they provide a quality experience, but they don't capture the referral. And so no one else knows that they actually offer, they do a quality job. And a lot of businesses can benefit by just looking on social media to see who's mentioning their business by just going to Facebook and typing their business's name in quotations and then looking at the posts and see what comes up. That's like the first best easy way to get started. And then going out to people customers they've interacted with and asking for it. If people just do those two things right there, typically what happens is they get a lot better response, especially from social media.
Do the flip side. What
Yeah.
happens when somebody complains?
Well, so and I've experienced this one myself. We have, and I think every entrepreneur will. You can do a couple of things right there. One, you can hide from it and pretend it never happened. But we know that that's like the ostrich maneuver where you bury your head in the sand. And the bad news is that exposes your butt. And it's typically going to get kicked if you do that. So the truth is you got to hit those head on and you've got to reach out, do right by others. And sometimes, unfortunately, you can't. And they just, for whatever reason, they had a bad experience. You still don't want to ignore those, but you might not paste those and share those. And you might go ahead and take responsibility and say, hey, you know what? We had a mistake, or we had this person that when we first met with them, we weren't clear with our expectations. Because there's typically some truth in every bad review, even if it was you did business with someone you shouldn't because you knew you couldn't meet their expectations. But yeah.
I'm just suffering through the moves from hell from one house to the other.
Oh,
3
yeah.
moves that have been hell. I lived in one house for 55 years. You know what you accumulate in 55 years?
Couple things at least.
But anyway, that's and I've been debating what to do, but that's not. Let's go on to another topic because it seems to me that you have a lot to offer. So, what would you like to talk about? Our audience is made up primarily of people with companies under 50 employees.
Yeah.
So, a lot of them wear 4 or 5 or 6 different hats. How do you get people to reduce the number of hats they wear?
Well, I think every great business leader should be the master of give up list. Because in the beginning, when you start a business, every job is your job. And I've lived by that. I know what that's like. And a lot of our listeners right now, I'm sure, Don, they are that. They have every job. And the way that you win the game of business is by giving up those jobs to someone else who can do it at your level or better than you. And if you don't have someone at your level or better than you, then you have to keep looking until you find that. And starting with the one that's probably the biggest is it's your sales department, whatever you do to acquire new customers. Because that's the one that if you really get that part right, everything else is easier. But if you look at the 2 biggest things that cause a small business to go out of business, it's usually financial or legal. And if you can go ahead and just do right legally, which that's a whole other topic, then you've got that financial one. And that's probably the biggest one if we're being honest. And it's usually because they don't have enough sales. And so when you look at your business right now, you have to look at it as 2 businesses. Everyone is in sales. Now, in some way, shape, or form, everyone is. And if you don't have the sales department, you are the sales department. But that's typically the first job I would give up because typically it needs the most attention. And you can't give it up to an amateur. It's something that right now you've got to be very skilled and it has to be something that they live by. Because if you actually make that investment first in growing the sales side of your business, everything else is going to work. And if you get a return on investment from your salesperson, you're going to be able to invest it in other positions that eventually you're going to work yourself out of a job in the good way.
That's very, very interesting thought. People have said that about businesses I've been involved in. But now, having said that, how do you go about identifying the good people? I keep coming back to that because lately that's the thing that people have been in our questionnaires they've been asking for more than anything else. How do you
Yeah.
identify good people?
Well, and let me give you some perspective. I'm going to go into that. Cyberbacker are a great company. We'll get on average 20,000 applicants per week. We'll do on average 5,000 interviews per week. So we're about a fourth of those. And we'll hire less than 100 a week. And it's that hard finding talent. It really is. When you look at the characteristics that make up talent, most talented people, they've got a track record of success somewhere else in the world. And you've got to see where that other track record of success is. Maybe it was successful in a sports field. Maybe it was another career. Maybe it was something else, but they have to have something that you can point to that they were successful at. And it's not, it was an overnight success or something that was luck, but it's, they went ahead and they started something. They hit a certain benchmark. They were successful and they did it over an extended period of time. A lot of times what we're seeing right now is people that they go job to job to job to job to job, and they don't have any success at a job. That's not really a great person. When you look at also the way that they speak, the people you want to hire, talented people in their language, they take responsibility. They own it. They don't try to go ahead and make themselves look like they're something they're not. They're going to be vulnerable and real about their mistakes. And if they're going to do that in an interview, they're going to do pretty good when you're working with them. Because remember, the interview, that's where they're trying to sell you on the position of working with them. And that's when you've got to be the toughest. And one of the problems I think we have is people go ahead and they meet someone they really like, and they mistake them for the person who's capable of doing a job. That's not the case. You know, you and I would say, Don, we're pretty good guys, but I don't think either one of us belong playing in the NBA next season. You know, no matter how much the coach might like both of us, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they have that. But when you also, so you're looking at those things, you're also, when you put the expectations on what you're looking for out there, a talented person who's capable of doing a job, it's got to get broken down to by the day. Here's the results we're expecting every single day. And it's, did you deliver the results or not? Or did we set the right expectation? One of the other things, and I'm cheating here because most of our people that we go ahead and we interview, we're looking at, do they have a track record of following a calendar? Because I know they can follow a calendar, their own calendar. They can follow one with us with a job. But if they're not good at following a calendar for themselves, they're not going to be good at it for us. And then one of the other big things is if you look at most people, where they spend time is things that are urgent and important, and sometimes things that are not important, but they're also urgent. The truly best people out there invest their time where it's not urgent, but it's important. And these are simple things, like they go ahead and then they have a budget for where they're going to spend their money. Now, budgets are important, but they're not urgent. No one makes sure you have to have one. They take care of their health. Because taking care of your health, I mean, everyone can be the best person taking care of your health when your doctor says, if you don't make these changes, you're going to die in 3 months. But people who proactively take care of their health, and we don't look at only people that take care of their health. We look at where are they functioning in an area that's not urgent, but it's important and they're doing it. So maybe they're not quite healthy, but they're great about their budget. That's great. Maybe they're good at their schedule. Maybe they're proactive about their learning, but in some area, there's going to be something that is not urgent, or it's not urgent, but it's important, and talented people are doing that. We're just looking at one area of life, you know?
I'm sorry, say that again.
We're just looking at one area of life that they're proactive. They treat something important, but there's no urgency behind it.
Well, let me ask you this. First off, your website again for our audience.
Yeah, that's cyberbacker.com, cyberbacker.com. We've got all sorts of stuff there. Check it out.
But in a recent Wall Street Journal article, they're talking about the fact that a lot of people are saying college isn't necessary anymore. Is success in college an indicator to you?
Well, if I'm having brain surgery, I prefer the doctor that did good in college. It is, you know. But if the job you're hiring for is data entry, and that's all you need, it might not be as necessary because there's not a lot of college courses that they offer for data entry that are required for the position. When you look at sales, there's a lot of sales positions that they're not required. Don, I'm gonna let you know a little secret. I have, in my opinion, the best assistant on the planet, the best. Her name's Jen. She is like my babysitter. She makes sure I'm on task all the time. She keeps me organized. The woman has a degree in engineering. It's fantastic what she's smarter than me. And I will tell that every day. So it's not required for a lot of positions to have that. But what it shows is that they value their education, that they're intelligent. And when you have that, that's something to hold on to. Is it necessary? Well, it depends on the position. But when you have that, don't let that go because it means something.
Well, then I'll give you a curveball question.
Shoot.
Is there a difference between generations, and do you see any?
Um, that's a pretty good curveball. I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things that it's not just generation, but it's where are the people coming from? Because you do have a lot of younger people right now that they've got a little bit of a different world right now. They're getting information from social media, they're getting information from internet, where older generations, they got information from each other. And one of the things that we're finding with that younger generation is when they're told something, they're going to go verify it. They're very skeptical like that, where it seems like generations that didn't have that, they had to trust what the other person was telling them. So relationally, they're going to be a little bit different. And as far as colleges and stuff like that go, there weren't as many options to be educated. I mean, back when I went to school, the internet wasn't a big thing. By the way, on my last statement, I'm a college dropout for computer science. Didn't make it. Oh well. But no, there wasn't a lot of places to get the information. Now you've got people that they are masters of finding information online and they're able to function with that. So it's an interesting thing, but it's back to the concept of no matter what age and no matter where they're at, if the job is brain surgery, I want someone that did school and did pretty good.
But I'll piggyback on our studies. The most successful entrepreneurs on this program, most of whom are college dropouts.
Yeah.
We had a brief survey done over the last 2 years, and most of the people were college dropouts. Hmm. It might be part of being an entrepreneur. We're being so good that we're getting close to the end of our time together. Two things. First off, your website again for other people.
Yeah, that's cyberbacker.com, cyberbacker.com.
Oh, and you've got 2 or 3 minutes to leave something with our audience.
Well, I think for all small businesses right now, at the fundamental, it's what business or what problem do we solve and who do we solve that problem for? And that's why we get up every day and do what we do and fight the crusade we do in small business. For me, the crusade I wanted to fight was for my family members and the entrepreneurs in my family that came before that just didn't have enough time with their families. And if they would have had help, if they would have had a cyberbacker, they would have been able to build a lot better relationships with their family members. And that's something that you have if you want more free time, if you're just bogged down, stuff like that. That's why my business exists. And I hope every small business owner out there has that vision of something they want for them that they're willing to share with the world, because that's what makes the difference.
Well, on that note, Greg, Goodlife, we say thank you for me an illuminating time together.
Thanks, Don. It's a pleasure.